Hey, Off-Season After Dark fans, welcome here to episode 23. And for the second week in a row, we stay in the SEC, but covering one of the schools that we haven't got to yet. So we have Matt Bryan here with us to talk about the Auburn Tigers. You know, if you're a usual viewer, you know the coaching carousel and those vacancies is one of the main things we talk about. So we're going to dive into one of the biggest jobs on the market today and one where we're seeing a lot of big names be mentioned. Matt is also a guy who some of you may recognize in one of my quasi coworkers at Mike Farrell Sports. So you'll see some of his writing along with mine on the website there. So Matt, first of all, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah. What got you into the space, into talking about Auburn, into doing, you know, all the media stuff about them?
So I've always been an Auburn fan. Came out of the womb bleeding orange and blue, basically.
Okay.
I didn't really get into covering Auburn sports until after COVID when I decided to put my journalism degree to work. So got started writing for warblogle.com. If y'all are familiar with that, I'm sure every Auburn fan that listens to this is. So I did some stuff for him for a couple of years. It was great. Funny enough, the hot topic that I covered while at Warblogle was Hugh Freeze. So we'll get into that later. But after that, I switched gears over to Auburn Daily with Zach Blackerby running the show. And mainly the draft. I'm a big draft guy. So, you know, I'll talk to you about the economy for like a minute. I'll talk to you about, you know, the New Orleans Saints cap situation for 2 hours. Like, it's insane.
So one of my guests I've had on a few times is one of my real life close friends, Thor Nystrom, who does Fantasy Life for his full-time job. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I did that for a little while. And then I've kind of bounced around doing freelance work. I've never lost my touch on what's happening at Auburn or the SEC in general. And like you said, now I'm with Mike Farrell Sports. And of course, I'm a big time podcaster. Me and my brother do the college fanfare together. And now I'm here. So glad to be here, Mike. So thanks for bringing me on.
Awesome. And for all you listeners out there, as usual, I'll tag all the places where you can find Matt and his brother in their podcast when this is on both YouTube and X. So you'll have easy access to that. So I guess let's jump right into the deep end, Matt. Let's start before getting to the next guy. Let's do an abbreviated postmortem on the Hugh Freeze era. And how did we get to where we are today?
Wow, yeah. This won't take long at all. So to understand how we got to the Hugh Freeze era, you have to go back to the time before. So Let's rewind the clock to the post 2020, the end of the COVID season. Gus Malzahn makes a statement, which I believe 1,000% this is why he got fired. So despite having a winning record, being, you know, Nick Saban's thorn in his side and winning the West a couple times, Gus lets it slip, you know, 8 wins is a solid year at Auburn. Now, if this was maybe like the 90s and the Saban dynasty and the Kirby Smart dynasty hadn't happened yet, maybe, you know, that comment would have slid. But I believe when Gus Malzahn said that, that's when the administration decided to fire him because Auburn wants championships. And we've seen the proof of concept. You can win championships at Auburn. So they were going to settle for 8. They let Gus Malzahn go in the weirdest coaching search ever. I mean, they're just
so bizarre. Yeah.
The plan was to fire him, and that was it. Like, it just, Mike, I'm telling you, there was no clear indication which way the coaching search was going to go. And I mean, Lane Kiffin's name popped up. Hugh Freeze's name popped up, ironically. But we genuinely had no idea. We didn't hear about Brian Harsin until literally the day before he got hired. That's how crazy it was. So Harsin comes on board, and I mean, on paper, he looks good, right? Like one of the winningest coaches at Boise State. He's won, conference titles there, 10-win seasons, blah, blah, blah. Everybody points to that play in the 2008 Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma or whenever it was. It's like, oh, he's an offensive genius. That did not last long. Harsin.
And I've said this multiple times about him, and I've written it several times. He's a fantastic coach. That was a bad fit for Auburn. He didn't
absolutely
fit there.
So whenever people are like, fit doesn't matter, the Harsin era would like to have a word with you. Because, again, good
LSU
guy.
fans are going through that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Harsin and Kelly. Oh, man, what a tandem that would be. Harsin's offensive scheme, it could have translated, right? But he just did not care about recruiting the way you have to in the SEC because, these coaches live at the high schools. Wasn't something Harsin was ready to commit to. And so it didn't go anywhere. They fired him. They move on. This time they had a plan, which is what led us to Hugh Freeze. The plan, of course, was recruiting. I feel like John Cohen got in his head that, okay, last time we needed a vision. So what's the vision now? Recruiting is lacking. We're in the bottom 50s at the time. Let's go get an ace recruiter who can also run offense. So that's how we landed on Hugh Freeze. Now, I know for a fact Freeze was not the first choice. Everybody at Auburn wanted Lane Kiffin. They were throwing the bag at Lane Kiffin. And which, if recruiting was what you were going for, Lane Kiffin's fine, but he's more of a portal guy, right? I think they just love the idea of a recruiter who can get 10-win seasons consistently, right? So, of course, Lane takes the job, changes his mind, stays at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze was the backup plan. But, again, on paper, what's not to like? Ace recruiter. He had some good years at Ole Miss. He upset Arkansas and Brigham Young at Liberty that same year, right?
And he was doing well at Liberty. They were on a heater his last couple of years there.
Offense was clicking. Dude, Malik Willis turned into the 34th pick of the NFL draft. Auburn backup quarterback, ironically enough. On paper, it looks great. Hey, here's the Diet Coke version of Lane Kiffin who can recruit. So that's exactly what they got. They got the Diet Coke version of Lane Kiffin, so the offense wasn't that great, but he could recruit. I mean, Auburn didn't have a winning product any year he was there, and yet somehow he consistently had Auburn in the top 10 in recruiting. He could sell a light bulb to the Amish. It was amazing to watch, actually. So the recruiting side of Auburn got fixed. There is now talent in the barn, as it were. Unlike last time when there wasn't much to work with Harsin, right? The problem is and especially now that Derek Nix has run the offense for a game, and you see what was holding Auburn's offense back. The game just passed Hugh Freeze. At the end of the day, that's just what I think happened. Because, and I mean, I even said this when I was podcasting with Blogle, and they were like, well, what would be a negative thing for hiring Freeze? And I said, we might have seen the best of Hugh Freeze already. Those 10-win seasons at Ole Miss, that might have been it. And, unfortunately, it looks like that was. So Hugh Freeze, great guy. It's a different era of college football, especially in the SEC. He just wasn't cut for it. So I'm sure he'll cry comfortably in that $15 million that we cut him. So
yeah, he will be an interesting one if we see him coach again somewhere. If one of the American or Sun Belt CUSA teams would kick the tires on him again, he certainly would be a name. And at that level, I think you just get such a better roster than everybody else in your conference. You might win games.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, we wanted Hugh Freeze to work out so bad. He loved Auburn, great face for the program, good, excellent recruiter, man. It was time. So here we are.
It was time. Yeah. Now, you mentioned a name a few times, John Cohen, athletic director. How tied do you think his job is to this next hire? And are there some people that want him out already for his failures?
I've not heard a lot of rumblings that his job is in jeopardy, but they are definitely watching to see what he does next because, you saw what happened to Scott Woodward at LSU. Yeah. This guy he made two of the biggest hires in college football history, this modern age, right? Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, Brian Kelly at LSU. That's his MO. The guy swings for the fences, right? And because neither of them have panned out, not only did he fire Brian Kelly, but he followed him right out of the door. Yeah. So, in this day and age, you can make the best basketball hire. You can make the best baseball hire. You can have a lot of achievements and accomplishments under your belt as an athletic director. If your school's a football school, your job is 100% tied to that. It doesn't matter what you accomplish in anything else. So, yes, I do kind of get the feeling they're going to let John Cohen make the hire. I feel like they're going to trust his judgment, see who he brings in. But if this one doesn't work out, he's absolutely gone. And it's not going to be a long leash either.
Did he hire Dan Mullen when he was at Mississippi State, or did he inherit him? Do you know
He
the
inherited
answer
him.
to that? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about
Now,
all the football hires he had made.
He did hire Mike Leach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a great hire. That was an awesome
Yep.
hire for Mississippi State. That's why when he came to Auburn, I was like, okay, I'm excited to see what this guy can do. And he did push for Lane Kiffin. Like, we were this close to landing Lane Kiffin. So clearly he's not afraid to swing for the fences.
Yeah, I thought it was one of those two. I wasn't sure which hire he had made at State, though. It's odd that out of these 15 other SEC teams, 4 or 5 of them hired an AD from Mississippi State. That's now they're like, it's wild, the feeder system of ADs. Yeah.
It's a farm school, but not for coaches. So
that well said. Yeah. So now in moving up to where we are right now, I think going into this year, everybody thought that, Freeze had to win. The seat was getting hot.
Yeah.
It went south faster than I thought it would, though. What was your feeling to that? Or do you think I'm wrong about that?
I mean, the first 3 games, I had hope. Like, I really did. The Baylor game especially, like, Auburn looked great against Baylor. And so I thought, okay, well, if the plan is to just let Jackson Arnold tuck it and run whenever he feels like it, it looks like we're in good shape. And so we get to the Oklahoma game, and Auburn was in it. Like, it was scored. We were scoring touchdowns. There's a couple of drop passes that would have given us more, but there was the overturned fumble that the refs just gave back to Oklahoma. But, Auburn was in it. It was just, But it's like, that's the first game that fans are like, oh my gosh, Auburn got hosed. And I mean, they kind of did. The SEC even acknowledged that there was a play that should have happened. So, it was hard to judge Auburn based on that game because it was like, okay, you lost, but you looked good and the refs got involved. So then we go to the Georgia game, Auburn's next home game at Jordan-Hare. Again, they jump right out of the gate, take a 17-0 lead against the number 5 or top 10, whatever ranking they were, team in the country. The refs,
I think they were 9 at the time. I want to say 9 or 10 at the time. Yeah, but
that sounds right. Yeah. But they got hosed again by the refs, like to the point that those refs are no longer working in the SEC.
Yeah.
So
the fumble at the goal line was awful.
Yeah, dude, 1,000%. But so we didn't really get a good look at what to expect from Auburn until the Missouri game. But then when you watch that game, you can go back and look at the others where it was hard to judge Auburn, and you can pick out this one single trait, which is the minute that the pressure's on, it looks like the staff and the team subsequently around them would fold.
Yeah.
Like the Georgia game, yes, we got ref balled, but still, when it was time to answer the call, if
you still had a half to rebound and didn't
exactly, and instead Auburn just crumbled, turned into a pumpkin. Like if Nick Saban had that same treatment, Alabama would have come out in the second half and scored 50 screw you points. And Ken Williams would have been working at Waffle House by next Tuesday. Yeah. Like, that's exactly what would have happened. Instead, Auburn just was like, oh, well, that's the game. And that was the main trait you could go back and look at, and you're like, so even when they're in the thick of it, like with Missouri, where they took them to overtime, yes, as soon as, Auburn realized, Missouri was trash talking them at the midfield level for the coin flip, there was no response. Okay. As soon as Missouri got that touchdown, Auburn folded.
They did.
And and it was just like, okay, so we know what to expect from a Hugh Freeze-led team, which is it's great when things are going our way. And if not, well, too bad, which is not how you should operate as a team, especially in the SEC. You compete no matter what. So, and plus when you're an offensive guru and you're in your 3rd year and your offense is no higher than 125 in the total offensive rankings in the NCAA, that's a problem.
It always baffled me how well he did constructing the roster, except at quarterback. Going into year 2 with Peyton Thorne, what made you think his year 1 would lead you to success in his year 2? And then this year, a lot of people were high on Jackson Arnold. I didn't see it last year to make me think that he was going to be the guy for this type of offense.
Yeah. I mean, I what else you're supposed to do when a guy comes to your school? Like I supported him. I was rooting for him. But like when the news broke, I mean, you got to think John Mateer's out there, Fernando Mendoza's out there, all these names that we're now seeing in like preseason.
Caden Salter, who'd been at Liberty with Hugh Freeze, went to Colorado.
I mean, he's not exactly putting up Johnny Manziel numbers,
but it still, would have made sense from a connection.
Exactly. And all these quarterbacks you could have picked, and he goes with Jackson Arnold. And when the news broke, I was just kind of like, okay, sure. Like, let's just see, what does he see in him that maybe we don't see? I don't know. And again, I'm done listening to narratives around players like, oh, you got to give him a chance. He had bad receivers and a bad offense. I'm done. Like, I'm specifically looking at statistics from now on. If a quarterback just doesn't have good numbers, it's not going to work out. Because I've seen this song and dance twice. So I don't know why Hugh Freeze didn't think of that either. But here we are.
Yeah.
Cost him his job.
And I think you brought up another very good point that on our group show I talked about. The way I had worded it was kind of using coach speak. In the second half of those games, Auburn was mental midgets. They just folded at the slightest chance or, semblance of controversy, tough plays, anything. They just cracked. They couldn't handle it, and you're not going to win games doing that.
Yeah. That just you don't have to have the biggest roster or the fastest roster. You cannot have a loser mentality.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Look at Vanderbilt. They believe they can win every single game. Name me 5-star players outside of Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers. Exactly.
You can't.
But they believe they can win every game. So here we are. So.
Yeah. And this team isn't nearly winning that much, but we talk about Auburn being in close games and losing.
Yeah.
Kentucky has found a way to win some of those games. They've
bought into one of them.
Yeah. They've bought into what Mark Stoops is selling. Mm-hmm. And if he gets this team to 6 wins with the talent they have, that is impressive. Yeah. If you go to a bowl game and win 10 games with Lynn Bowden at QB, then go to a bowl game with Cutter Boley, I'm buying whatever you're selling.
Yeah. Also,
if Stoops does that. Yeah.
All Kentucky fans that want Stoops fired, are you stupid?
Yeah. He's the best coach you've ever had.
Yeah.
They were at the bottom tier of the power conference schools before that. I mean, they were what Vandy was the last decade up until Clarkley. That's where Kentucky was. Yeah.
Love Stoops.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, good coach. But let's move a little bit into, I guess, the good transition here, talking about the next Auburn candidate. Since we're on him this season, where do you see DJ Durkin fitting into this search?
I will tell you, I mean, this isn't like a huge spoiler or anything, but like everybody I know down at Auburn, including the athletic director, staff, the boosters, everybody, they want DJ to get this job so bad.
Oh, okay.
Like they would love to be able to just rip the interim tag off of him, make him the full-time head coach, let him go get his own guys, his own staff, and just see what he can do with it. The problem is the Vanderbilt game was his best chance to make a statement. And the offense took off. Like he handed the keys to Derek Nix, got out of his way. And we, remember where Derek Nix came from, the Lane Kiffin tree. We saw a little bit of that Ole Miss offense. And suddenly it's like, oh my God, what has Hugh Freeze been doing this whole time? Like both Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman had over 100 yards. It was beautiful. We were right there.
It was the best anybody had done against Vandy on offense this year.
The problem is the second-year full-time defensive coordinator puts on another hat. It was like the defense took a step backward. It was 2014 all over again. We could score as much as we wanted. We couldn't stop a nosebleed. It was insane. Yeah. So
Auburn back to the Gene Chizik years then.
Exactly. Yeah. And they looked good in the first half. Like they were in Diego Pavia's backfield, great coverage. But then in the second half, there were adjustments that got Diego Pavia more on the outside that Auburn just wasn't prepared for. And it was like, did DJ even plan for this? Because it didn't look like he did. And it was like, So is this what we're going to get from Durkin if he's having to split duties as a coordinator and a head coach? So that really hurt his chances. Now, he's got 2 more, and I'll go ahead and tell you, if he wins the Iron Bowl, the job is basically his. Like, it's going to be very hard.
I was going to ask that. Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to look at the guy that beats Bama and tell him to get lost. Like, apparently at Auburn, that's all you have to do to get the job. But everybody, the kids love DJ Durkin. The locker room has responded well. Like, you can see it all over Instagram and Twitter. They're posted memes, the little Dirk memes, or him with like the plate up. Like, they love playing for him. I mean, you kind of saw that energy on the field against Vanderbilt. Like, it felt like watching a Durkin-led defense on offense, just the way they responded to everything, and they looked prepared and tough. And it's like, okay, I would be okay with him getting the job, but he really shot himself in the foot against Vanderbilt. So now I have heard he is open to staying at Auburn. Just a rumor. It would depend on who the head coach is, of course. And I'm sure, like, if any head coach was worth his salt and could look at the product he's done, they'd be an idiot not to keep him. But
I think the one interesting one there is John Summerall is going to be a name we talk about later on.
Yeah.
His right-hand man this whole time has been Greg Gasparotto. He's probably coming with his D coordinator, unless he gets the job at Tulane, which he would be a candidate for.
Yeah. John Summerall's the one name where I'm like, okay, I don't like the chances of keeping Durkin if Summerall got it.
No, I don't think there's a chance.
Yeah, 1,000%. But like DJ right now, I'd say maybe if I had to put him in a tier of how likely it is, I'd say he's maybe 3rd out of top 3. So
okay.
Apparently Vegas agrees with me.
Yep, I pulled these odds, and this guy has actually. This wasn't Vegas. This was an offshore book.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
I was like, did I just do that?
Yeah,
wow.
You did, but they had him. They do have him 3rd at Summerall 1, Golish, Durkin, Bob Chesney's a heck of. In fact, Bob Chesney was here in Huntington last weekend. JMU played at Marshall. I don't see him getting this job. He could be Vautech. He'll be in the mix for some other ones. I don't know that this one is and Fran Brown would have been in the mix if they would have been even close to how they were last year.
Yeah.
Syracuse is a dumpster fire this year. Once Steve Angeli got hurt, they can't beat anybody. They can't score any points.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, going ahead and strike James Franklin's name off that list. Like,
okay,
my gut just tells me from everything I've heard, I don't think he's coming to the SEC. I think he wants to stay up north. I think he's waiting for a job that isn't open yet to become available.
Yeah.
Michigan State.
He might be another Michigan State candidate too.
Yeah.
The other job that he could be a candidate for that hasn't come open yet. He was a former O coordinator at Maryland. If Mike Loxley gets fired, Franklin could be a guy they look at there, I think.
Which, for the good people, no, Mike Loxley did not lose his job.
He did not.
I saw that post from that spoof account, number 3 Sport. Yeah, everyone was blowing up.
Yeah.
Were you in the chat when that happened?
Yes.
Everyone was like,
I was.
Somebody wrote an article about this. He just got fired. It was like, dude, he's still there.
No.
But yeah. Just so everyone knows, because we only report truth here. Mike Loxley still has a job. So.
He does.
Yeah. I would say, can I throw you real quick? We'll get back into Auburn coaches, but let me just tell you what I think is going to happen with Franklin. If you're interested,
I would love to hear it. Yes,
I really, really think he wants the Wisconsin job, and it'd be
a good job. I mean, it's one. I don't think they fire Fickle this year.
I don't think so either. But I think he is hoping that, and I mean, it could happen. The bottom just falls out in Madison, and he gets the call to be the Badgers head coach. So
beating Washington was a big win for them last weekend.
Yeah,
for Fickle. Yeah.
But everyone's saying Virginia Tech. I really think he's going to stay in the Big Ten.
It's convenient because it's open, but I think he wants a bigger job than Vautech right now.
Oh yeah, which that's crazy saying Virginia Tech's not a big job right now. So
yeah,
Frank Beamer is he alive?
Frank Beamer is alive. Yeah,
I was going to say roll in his grave, but sorry.
No,
my apologies, alive. Frank Beamer. Nothing but love.
So as a Gamecock graduate, I am well versed with the Beamer family, and he is alive and well.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
is Shane staying?
Shane's going to stay. That would be the only. I mean, it's a weird scenario. I've talked about this before, where I think the worse the Gamecocks do this year, the more likely he would be to leave for Vatek. It's counterintuitive. Usually, it's if you're doing better, you think to leave.
Right.
I think in this case, it's the opposite of that. But I don't think he leaves in the end. I do think he genuinely likes it with the Gamecocks and stays.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
yeah, Franklin, I think he is 100% waiting for either Wisconsin or Michigan State to give him a call. So you can take his name off the list for Auburn coaches. He's done in the SEC. Like, he did his damage at Vanderbilt, and I really do think he's done. So
yeah, Golish is an interesting one. We've heard his name for a lot of jobs. They started the season so hot. I think he goes somewhere. I don't know if I see Alex Golish going to Auburn, but
I like Golish a little more than Summerall, and I've got some pushback from my
Auburn buddies. I'm the opposite with you there, but I would like to hear your rationale.
So the thing is, first off, yes, John Summerall is the favorite for a reason. There seems to be a lot of smoke around that. And he could work. The difference between Summerall and Golish is this. I have seen Golish call plays in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
He was part of Tennessee's rebuilding project with Josh Heupel. Yeah. I mean, he's the guy that took the Virginia Tech cast-off Hendon Hooker and turned him into a Heisman contender, right?
Yeah.
I've seen his body of work in the SEC, and now he's gone down to USF and took Florida, behind the woodshed. Didn't exactly smack him around, but he came out with a victory. So I feel like Golish is better prepped for the SEC than Summerall is. The counter argument I keep getting is what Alex Golish has done once at USF, John Summerall has done twice at two different power group of six programs.
And to your notion of, Golish has called plays, Summerall was a D coordinator on an 8-10 win team at Kentucky. So he was calling the other side of the ball.
Was he not the linebackers coach?
I thought he was both at one point.
He was professional podcasting, everybody. Welcome to the show. I mean, if he was defensive coordinator, great. Like, that's awesome. I read that he was the linebacker coach.
He was the first half of his time there. Then the second, he was only linebackers the first half. Then the second half, he was. So he probably wasn't calling the defense for the 10-win season, but likely was for the 8.
Okay.
Would probably be the likely scenario there.
Gotcha. Okay. But again,
and
go ahead.
Golish, very impressive what he did, the last 2 years there with Heupel. I mean, they were good and very good at game playing against opponents. They were finding, whatever your weakness was on D, they were targeting. They had a heck of a team. They were good. And he took over a terrible program from Jeff Scott, who won, I think, 3 games in 3 years. And they instantly went to a bowl game his first year. Very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Like he did there what Charles Huff is doing at Southern Miss this year, essentially.
Yeah. So he's done it twice. Like, 2 10-win seasons at 2 different programs. And that's great. Like, he could come to Auburn, and I think if Summerall came to Auburn, they would be good, right? It's just you have a little more comfort with the whole, Golish actually, he's been in this conference. He knows what's expected. He knows how to recruit, and he knows how to call plays against, the big dogs, Georgia, Bama, you name it, Florida, which is going to be added to Auburn's schedule next year. But again, I don't.
By the way, who are Auburn's 3 permanent opponents?
So it's Bama and Georgia, which Auburn fans, I don't care how good Alabama and Georgia are, Auburn would have rioted if they lost one of those rivals. So,
I mean, Alabama I knew would be one of them.
Georgia, can't stand the dogs, but it's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Like, we were not going to let that go. Vanderbilt is what we were given because it was like, they play 2 of the toughest teams. Let's give them Vandy.
Yeah.
Well, now Vandy looks, great. So thank you, Greg Sankey, for that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Gamecocks have Georgia, Florida, Kentucky for their 3.
Okay, see, you got the same treatment. So you got the team that would have been, nice to have 5 years ago.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so looking at some other names we're hearing, Kenny Dillingham has took Arizona State to the playoffs last year.
That's
done a fantastic job. He's at his alma mater. He says he's staying. Do you believe him?
No.
Okay.
No. Listen, don't make me tap the sign that has the Nick Saban quote, "I'm not going to be the next head coach at Alabama." Okay. Money talks. And I get it that Arizona State is, that's his backyard. And, he's done some good things there and all that. But it's like, if you're a coach that wants to be among the best and truly contend for championships, well, what conference has won the most championships? It's the SEC. And what school is there that you have connections to, because you were an offensive coordinator there, has a war chest in name, image, likeness money to just hand out, and some of the best facilities in the country? Well, it's Auburn. And so, I really do think, if he has an okay season with Arizona State, and if Auburn just makes him an offer he cannot refuse, he's gone.
Okay.
And honestly, that's the hire I like the most, because
I think you'd be fortunate to have him. Yeah. He would be good.
Because we haven't really had good quarterback play since he left. Bo Nix's freshman season at Auburn was the only good season Bo Nix had. And then what did Bo Nix do when he transferred? He goes to Oregon. Well, who was the coordinator there, Mike?
Yeah.
Kenny Dillingham. Sure. And what happens? Bo Nix was a Heisman contender. So, plus, I feel like Kenny would keep DJ in a heartbeat. So
certainly might. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be another situation there where his D coordinator, Brian Ward, would be a candidate to succeed him at Arizona State potentially. Yeah.
And I feel like that's how he would want it. He would tell him, "Hey, I'm going to keep DJ, stay here, and keep doing what we've done." I feel like that's a situation everyone would win. Do I feel like that's most likely? Well, no, it's Auburn. The likely candidate is hardly ever, or the candidate you want is hardly the one you get.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that would be my dream hire. Kenny Dillingham keeps DJ Durkin. There you go.
2 other guys that I want to dive into, like we did with him. Another former Auburn assistant. I've been a big Eli Drinkwitz fan for years. I think he would be a good hire for you guys. Again, I don't know if he leaves. He's also right now the betting favorite at Penn State to get that job.
Yeah.
So how would you feel about Durkin? What do you think the viability there would be?
I'll be again, nothing against Drinkwitz. He's a fun guy. Good guy. It's just Auburn is stuck in this cycle because there's a good old boys mentality. We hire guys that we know who know guys who have been to Auburn. That's how we went from Gene Chizik to Gus Malzahn, Harsin excluded, to Hugh Freeze. There was always a connection there. Drinkwitz would just come from that same tree. And it's if you have cut 3 different branches off that tree and couldn't get a fire going, what makes you think the 4th one's going to do anything different? And I mean, you look at Drink and what he's done at Missouri. Great coach at Missouri.
Fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And was great at App State before that. Won 12 games his only year there.
Agreed. It's just with his current situation. And I'll say the same thing about Clark Lee and Jeff Brom and Brent Key, who are coaching at their alma maters. Some coaches only work at the program that they're at just because of the program, the culture. Drink just feels like he only works at Missouri.
Why is Dillingham different from Drink in that respect?
Because Dillingham, first of all, he's not cut from that Southern, you have to have had a major job here. He was offensive coordinator at Auburn for 1 year.
He was.
And that was it. Drink's been all over the South. Secondly, Kenny is kind of he's a younger guy, so he's got more energy. And there's 2 different mentalities that I see on the screen when I watch them. So Drink recently came out and said, we got to get out of this mentality that it's, I don't know what he sounds like, where he's we got to get out of this mentality.
He says playoff or bust.
first of all, that's the kind of statement that got Gus fired.
Yeah.
8 wins is a solid season. Get out. No. Meanwhile, Kenny's over here going, we expect to compete for championships. He takes blame for every single loss. I see a winner with Kenny Dillingham. Yeah. Whereas with Eli Drinkwitz, it would be the same thing of oh, well, hey, we had a good season. And again, that's fine for Missouri. That's why he works at Missouri. But that's the same reasons that he gets kept at Missouri are the same reasons that we fired Gus. And so if he got the job, it would be the most underwhelming hire ever. I will be greatly disappointed. There would not be enough whiskey in the world to comfort me.
And I don't know that I'd be disappointed if I was you. To me, he would bring stability and consistency, which you've lacked for some time now. I get nobody wants to hear, you want to shoot for the stars. And the things he said, especially this recent one with, it's not playoffs or bust, definitely puts a dent in that.
Well,
I think he'd be a decent hire.
I'll be honest with you. I think that quote alone cost him a shot at the Auburn job.
Maybe.
I feel like Cohen heard that and said, all right. So, but yeah, again, great coach. It's just
he's right, by the way, but nobody wants to hear that. Nobody in the SEC Big Ten wants to hear you say that.
Right. Yeah.
We want to be in the playoffs every year. We want to win 10 games and get a home game in that first playoff round.
In the back of your head, if you won 9 games and looked fine, you'd be like, what a season. But it's you don't say that out loud. Eli, you don't say that out loud.
Yeah. So you had mentioned the next guy in that train of thought that I wanted to talk about. The third one, Brent Key, another name we're hearing a little. He's at his alma mater, Georgia Tech. Again, took over a terrible situation. He's won games there. I think there's a good chance he leaves. I don't know that it's for Auburn, though, at this time.
I disagree with both statements.
Okay.
Let me just kind of explain to you what I mean by this. So I said certain coaches only work at certain programs. Clark Lee, Jeff Brom, and Brent Key, you've got to remember, these guys are coaching their alma maters. They are home.
Yeah. Jeff Brom's the exception there, I think.
He was a Louisville quarterback, wasn't he?
But he took Purdue to a conference title game, so he worked elsewhere.
Well, yes. But now he's at Louisville, leading them to ACC title games and stuff. And I mean, that's the dream if you're a coach, right? It's called the Spurrier dream. Go to your alma mater, lead them to a championship. All 3 of them, I think, are happy with where they're at. But I have this. It's just a theory, Mike. But great coaches. But when you take them out of that aspect of it's where they're from, it's where mama calls them home, I feel like there's a level of intensity and passion that just kind of fades. And the guy that I would point to as an example is Scott Frost. Now, I know Nebraska was his alma mater, but UCF is where he cut his chops. And the second he got to Nebraska, it just didn't work because for whatever reason, it wasn't. He didn't feel the same way.
Another great example, talking about Big 12 guys going home, Rich Rod was a great example of that. A West Virginia guy who didn't do well at Michigan, actually did all right at Arizona, but failed at Michigan his next job and is now back at West Virginia.
So, again, they're great coaches. It's just I feel like if you took Clark Lee and put him at LSU, it wouldn't be the same thing.
I don't think I was on Locked on Vandy with Corey Burton last night, and he's one of the higher betting odds guys for LSU. I don't think Clark Lee goes to LSU.
That job is so cooked.
Yeah. Out of Lee, Brom, and Key, I think I brought up Key because he's mentioned for these jobs, and I view him as the most likely to leave of the 3. Not saying he does leave, but I think he's the most likely of those 3 to take a different job. Largely because Tech doesn't have a lot of resources.
I would say they would all stay. But if you put a gun to my head and told me to pick one, I would say Lee would probably leave just because, he's done a great job at Vanderbilt. It's just once Diego Pavia leaves, what's the plan? I feel like he's going to realize he's hit his ceiling and, someone will pick him up. Come on. So
what I said, I told Corey, I think in looking at where Lee is coached and the type of schools, the scenario where he leaves you this offseason would be if Marcus Freeman takes an NFL job, him going to Notre Dame could be because he was the former D coordinator. That would make sense.
Yeah. 1,000%. So,
but the key one is interesting. Like all these guys we're talking about, my article that's coming out for Farrell tomorrow is about either coaches who are at their alma mater and mentioned for other jobs, or guys like Jed Fish and Rhett Lashley, who their alma maters have openings and they are rumored for those gigs. So it'll be interesting. And Brent Key's an interesting one because he's fairly high on the odds at both Florida and LSU right now, as well as, the job we're talking about. So clearly, all those schools aren't going to get the guy they want. He might be one of the musical chairs guys that's left standing. And, hey, Brent Key, do you want the job? Like, I don't know.
I feel like Brent Key will eventually leave Georgia if he can, or Georgia Tech, excuse me. I feel like he would leave Tech if he could beat Georgia a couple times, Yeah. Stick it to the rival, and then he's going to be like, all right, I'm done. Like, I don't know. But anyways.
No, also, I think that's a great point.
Who is Jed Fish's alma mater?
Florida.
Florida. Okay. Yeah. I could remember for a second.
Yeah. No, he was a student assistant there when Spurrier was coaching, mid-90s. Right. So
I remember that now. Yeah. That'd be a good hire.
I think so. I mean, he took over. He's one of those guys like we're talking. The way you said, like you'd feel about the Drinkwitz hire, I think some Florida people would be underwhelmed with Fish, and they shouldn't be.
No,
he took over a terrible Arizona team in the Sumlin years. They had won a 1-win team. His third year, they won 10 games.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Football guy, 1,000%.
Yeah. So he'll be an interesting name to come up with, I think. So let's one more activity we'll do as to end our coaching talk here. If we're looking at the 4 openings in the SEC, right? If you were picking right now, who do you think gets the Auburn job? I'd probably leave Sumrall.
No, if I had to put money down on it, I would put a bet on Sumrall.
Okay.
But I would also follow that up with a bet on Dillingham.
Fair. Okay.
Because again, I'm not going to say too much, but just keep an eye on that one. Just keep an eye on that one.
Absolutely.
So
now LSU. I think that's the toughest one to peg at this point.
It is
so
because
much going on there.
LSU, as soon as they fired Brian Kelly, that job became the number 1 job in America. Yes. I mean, we can debate, like, we could rank schools and all that, but I mean, you look at facilities, money, history, and stuff. The list goes like LSU, Auburn, Penn State, Florida, but LSU's always at like the top of everybody's list, right?
Yeah.
Until recently.
Yes.
And because you fire Brian Kelly, the governor of Louisiana steps in and fires the athletic director. When has that happened before?
Yeah.
Like, so your job isn't just decided by the school, apparently. Your job is decided by the state. So they have no athletic director. They ripped the interim tag off of the guy who's running it, right? But now Brian Kelly is coming back with his lawyers saying that LSU's trying to fire him for cause, and the cause is they hated him, and LSU. So now there's like this fight going on between the two, and now there's a question of, okay, so the state can fire me, and I might not get my full buyout if I suck there. So LSU has now taken themselves from number 1 to like maybe number 3 or number 4, just because of all the crap that shouldn't even, pay the man and move on. Like, this shouldn't be a thing, So I think they definitely shot themselves in the foot with getting Lane Kiffin because of that. Which we'll get to him in a second, but
we will. Yeah.
If they swung in apparently, I don't know if you've heard the same thing. They swung and they missed on Marcus Freeman.
I did hear that. I don't know how credible it was, but I did hear it. Yes.
The fact that those reports came out while Woodward was the athletic director, it makes me believe them just because that sounds like something he would do.
I didn't know the timeline, so that does jive a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. He said, she said, but for the LSU job, Ed Orgeron. No.
Yeah.
I
wonder, are we gonna go way down the list here and get a candidate nobody like the D coordinator, the best team that is Dave Aranda going to end up being in the mix for this job because Baylor's going to go to a bowl game. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I really think it's going to be a name we've not heard yet. I'll just go ahead and say watch Lincoln Riley at USC.
Okay.
He has said that he wants to stay there. I talked to you a little bit about that situation off camera. For those of you listening, let's just keep an eye on that. LSU was in the mix for him a while ago. LSU certainly has the money to go after him if they wanted to. Again, it's the off-campus stuff that's going on. That's going to have a lot of questions looking at that job going, okay. I would, but again, that's a lot of words to say that I would give I would probably pick Jeff Brom.
Okay, that's fair.
Again, Louisville is his alma mater, but
I think I would lean Brent Key if we were picking an LSU one right now. Yeah,
both of them would be mistakes because of the whole. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm going to change my answer to one that would actually make sense. Let's give Joe Brady a call.
Okay. I will say on the betting odds for that, the last couple days, he's just plummeted. Like he's basically went off the charts. I don't know why, but he has.
Because, well, it could be because of what's happened, right? And he's like not really answering them. But I mean, think about it. Like, was LSU's offense because of Steve Nussmeier or was it because of Joe Brady in 2019? I think after you see how things went when they went their separate ways, it was Joe Burrow for sure, but it was also Joe Brady. And now that he's in the NFL, proving that he can do it anywhere, give them a call. Because, like, what's the MO in, the hot college candidates right now? It's a young guy with a lot of energy. Yeah. That can call an offense. That's Joe Brady. And I mean, LSU, like,
it's a lot of bills there. Yeah.
I'll give you this one more stick to chew on. If you're LSU, you've got to you just fired Scott Woodward. So or Woodward, excuse me.
Yeah.
You've got to get out of the mindset of home run hire because we've seen that happen twice. We've seen it happen multiple times. It's just not worked out. Just go get the guy that's the best candidate for the job at your program. And Joe Brady would be one of my first phone calls.
He would be a good candidate there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Joe Brady for LSU.
Okay.
That's why we get.
Would be the next one in the conference. I said Fish. I think he ends up there.
Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
He loves Florida. He's there all the time on vacation. He cut his chops at Florida Atlantic University to kind of rehab his image post Nick Saban.
He did.
Not that he needed to rehab it post Nick Saban. Like, that's why he joined Nick Saban's staff, right? But he wanted to prove he could be a head coach again, right? So I really do. I think Kiffin to LSU was a thing until all the recent drama with Kelly's contract and whatnot happened. So now I think he is looking at Florida.
He would be foolish not to at least get a raise out of it and, see how that's going to go. Yeah.
But it's like, I tell you, Mike, just look at all the top coaches that have been mentioned. Kurt Signetti. Darn it. I'm blanking. Shoot. Who's the point I'm trying to make is all these, Kurt Signetti being the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
All these coaches have gotten major Brett Lashley, that was the other one. They have gotten extensions from their school because their names immediately popped up. The moment
Matt Rule when he was mentioned for Penn State.
That was the other one. Thank you. Yeah. All these coaches got raises and extensions the minute their names pop up, right? Lane Kiffin hasn't signed one.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss is smarter than that. They're not just going to sit on it. The minute that Florida, LSU, now Auburn, all these SEC schools became open, they've got a check sitting on his desk, but he's not signed it. So what does that tell you? Is he being dramatic like he has been the last couple of years, or is there actual interest in the Florida job? He's just waiting the season out at Ole Miss because he wants to leave on a high note. And I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he would be a home run, I think, for anybody.
Yeah.
Any of these teams looking, and Rhett Lashley was one. Arkansas is the opening. It seems like everybody's forgotten about it because it happened so long ago.
Yeah.
Lashley was the obvious candidate. An alumni there, took SMU to the playoffs last year. I don't think he's leaving SMU anymore, though.
I don't either. I think Arkansas's best. I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this, and I already have, but I don't care. I still think this is the best option for them. Just give Petrino the keys again. Like, what I have seen from Bobby Petrino from his journey from University of Las Vegas, Nevada to Texas A&M to Arkansas, he can still coach. The offense looks great. He can still call a good offense. And I mean, if you're Arkansas, when was the last time you were relevant? It's when Bobby Petrino was there. So, hey, what's going to hurt you? A nice little 3-year prove-it deal or something like that. Like, give him the keys, see what he can do. Let him get his own staff, get his guys in the building. Taylor Green's going to be back. So, I really think Bobby Petrino getting the job back again. And if he had any stones on him, he would walk into that press conference with the neck brace on, right?
That'd be great. Yeah.
But I think Bobby Petrino would be like the best choice for Arkansas at this point. Because I agree with you, Mike. It was Rhett Lashley. Now that he's signed the extension, I don't think he's leaving SMU. Yeah. So it's got to be Petrino.
Yeah, I would like that for them. Zero problems with that. I think 2 names to watch there will be Ryan Silverfield at Memphis and Eric Morris at North Texas. Both be guys we might see in the mix there. But
I've heard both. I've heard Silverfield more than Morris. So yeah. I feel like if they didn't go with Petrino or Lashley, it would be him. So
yeah, I think that would be fair.
Which surprisingly, I don't see either of their names in Auburn's feeds a lot, which is kind of shocking. I like both.
It is kind of, yeah.
Yep.
And then another SEC, some related ones. So you said you think Kiffin leaves. I think Drinkwitz might go to Penn State.
Yep.
If openings would then be created, what do you think Ole Miss does if that happens?
I think if you're Ole Miss, which I'll just go in and call the shot now, like if Kiffin doesn't leave for Florida, he'll leave for somebody else. Otherwise, he would have signed the extension. So if you're Ole Miss, your first phone call is Jetfish.
That would be a decent one. Yeah.
Because the trend with Jetfish is keep the train rolling. He goes to Washington after Kalen DeBoer leaves, picks up what's there, and now Washington's doing good. It'd be the same song and dance at Ole Miss. Like, hey, Lane Kiffin's established a new culture. He's got a new mindset down here. He's recruited really well. Just keep that train going. No problem. I've done it before at Washington, a major program. Jetfish is the first phone call I'm making if I'm Ole Miss. And I mean, come on. Ole Miss versus Washington, where do you want to coach? So, especially if he's an SEC guy, like you said.
Yeah. And I said Washington's a great job. That might be a job he would take, though.
Yeah.
I do wonder at Ole Miss, I don't know if they'd be ready to do it. I wonder if Pete Golding would be in the mix for that job.
I had the same thought.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know.
Would you rather be head coach at Ole Miss or defensive coordinator at Florida? With a guy that can win games, right? So that would be interesting though. Pete Golding takes over. But I think Jetfish is the first phone call.
I no problems with that. That would be a solid one. And they would be another one being in state.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Huff could be an Ole Miss candidate too for how well he's doing at Southern Miss. Former Saban assistant. He would be a guy that maybe. And then a very interesting one for me would be if Drinkwitz leaves. I don't know what Mizzou does because there's not a jump out. Maybe more your old coordinator, but
I'll give you 2. Oh wow, I didn't know I could do that. I just made balloons pop up on the screen. Wow. I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 names.
Could be. It actually might be because it's my birthday.
Have that. Happy birthday, Mike. So
yeah.
No, I'll give you 2 names right now for Missouri. For Missouri if that happens. You ready?
Yep.
Phone call number 1. I am ringing up Brian Hartline, offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
I hate him for Penn State. I actually like that for Mizzou. Yeah.
Exactly, because hey, you know what?
Yeah.
you have proven you can run a good offense. He could recruit like nobody's business. I mean, just look at the NFL draft the past few years. Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, all these first-round guys. That was Brian Hartline. So he knows how to get talent in the building. He knows how to develop that talent once it's in the building. It's just he has been stuck at Ohio State for the longest time, and I think part of it is because he's just been waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah.
If Penn State gave him a call.
I think I see a little Brent Venables in him. He's waiting for the right job out there.
Exactly. Yeah. And Missouri would be perfect because it's like, hey, Luther Burden III came through here, so you know you can attract talent here. You're in the best conference in America, so come cut your chops here. But it's not like you're coaching at Georgia or Bama where it's 10 wins or busts. Like, come get your feet wet, see what you can do, recruit. Yeah. Put some time. I think it would just be perfect.
And if you kick ass here in 5 years, you can replace Ryan Day back there.
Exactly. We have the same exact thought.
Yeah. I do have one. You said you had two names.
Yeah. Go ahead with yours. Go ahead.
Alex Golish. Golish would be a Mizzou guy, I think. Yeah.
That's not who I was going to say, but I don't disagree with that. Like, I like that. Because again, SEC play calling experience, offensive minded guy. The name I was going to go, which is kind of the same reason as Golish, but let's see if Dan Mullen's ready to get back in the SEC.
Yep. I like that. That's a good one.
Just give him a call. Just see how that conversation goes. So I feel like him and Missouri would be a good fit.
That would be a good one. I didn't think of him. He would be solid.
Yeah. Everybody forgets he's coaching again. And it's I think it's because it's not like, a major program. It's like, oh, hey, who's the coach at Las Vegas? Oh, Dan Mullen.
He's another guy. He has stayed high in the odds for the Virginia Tech job the whole way through. And if you're them, if you could get him, I would like that hire.
Oh, yeah. Florida should have never fired him.
Yeah.
Like they jumped the gun way too quick. So
yeah. So we'll move into our end segment here. The few questions I always ask.
Yeah.
This one in the SEC is actually tough now. Which coach is on the hottest seat? We fired everybody on the hot seat, so I don't know who it is right now.
Going into next year or just for the rest of this season?
Take it however you want it. You can pick.
If I am watching a guy for the rest of this year, it's probably Shane Beamer. And I don't think it will happen.
But it won't happen this year. It won't happen this year.
The fact that Lenore's have you heard the Sellers stuff going on?
Yes.
Yeah. Losing out on Sellers to the portal and the way the season is just bottomed out. If he doesn't get fired next year, I would certainly keep an eye on him next season.
By the way, I don't think Sellers portals. I think he either stays or goes in the draft.
Okay.
Because with the bad QB class in this draft, if he declares he's going to go to the combine, light it up, somebody's going to Anthony Richardson him in the top 15.
Oh,
yeah.
1,000%. I love that term. Someone's going to AR him. No, I'd agree with that, except I think he'd be better than Anthony Richardson. Because right now, he's only behind Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Dante Moore. So, QB4 automatically. So, but I think he should portal and at least try to raise his stock because he absolutely could. Just not at Miami.
Yeah.
Miami's where championship seasons go to die. So.
They are. Yeah, but I truly, if he would leave and portal it, and realistically, I know it's an option. It's something that could happen. Hopefully he can find somewhere where they're going to utilize his talents and what he's good at.
Yeah.
So
for both the rest of the season and next year, Shane Beamer's a guy I would watch. You have to say Mark Stoops again. Kentucky,
yeah.
Kentucky
they're
fans
the two.
Would be,
yeah.
So it just if Stoops goes into next year and flatlines like 210, okay, sure, you can make the argument with me. It's just not this year. He's quickly turned it around in the second half. Cutter Boyle looks good at quarterback. I watched him personally at Jordan-Hare carve up DJ Durkin's defense.
Oh, yeah.
So, but Stoops, it'll be make or break for him next year. A lot of Kentucky fans just said, no, it's this year. No, you're an idiot if you fire him this year.
Yeah,
I'll go and I'll throw a left-handed curveball at you. Kalen DeBoer.
I mean, whenever he loses 2 games, he's going to be mentioned.
Exactly.
There's no security there. Yeah.
And that's why I'm bringing this up. It's because it's like, at this point, if you're Kalen DeBoer, you've seen what you can do at Alabama. You've seen what kind of talent you can get in the building. You've seen what kind of games you can win. But you have also seen what happens when the floor falls out from underneath you. And it's not the same like it was at Washington or wherever else he coached. So if I'm Kalen, it's not necessarily a hot seat season for him.
Yeah.
But next year, especially if Bama doesn't win it all this year, next year is a season to keep an eye on in Tuscaloosa, because is that a year where he goes 10-2, fans freak out, and he says, okay, I'm done.
I love you guys. I appreciate replacing the legend, but my family, we're Midwesterners, so I'm taking the job at Wisconsin. I'll see you later.
Yeah. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So. Now, if you want to go outside the SEC, Dabo Swinney, 1,000%.
I don't know if I agree with it. I think he has a pretty long leash. Not that it couldn't happen. I don't know that I put him that high, though.
I disagree. I mean, the 2 championships is great, right? But that was 7 years ago?
Yeah.
And he's refused to use the portal. And he came in. This dude, from a statistical standpoint, this was one of the best Clemson teams he's ever had. 84% of the talent on the roster came back from last season and started last season, led by Cade Klubnik, who, if he went to the draft, easily quarterback 4 or 5 off the board. He's not even getting.
I will learn a lot about Dabo based on what they do quarterback-wise going into next year.
Yeah.
I don't think that Vizina dude is going to be the next guy. Will you go in the portal and get one of the best guys out there?
He has to. And if I had to put money on that happening, I'm keeping my change.
I know. I don't know what I would bet on it.
It's make or break for Dabo next year, man. So But those are the
next question I ask.
Yeah.
After the hot seat one, it's what coach in the SEC do you think is the most likely to vault to a blue blood job? I feel like it's going to be Lane Kiffin, but
Well, yeah. Ole Miss fans will tell you that Ole Miss is a blue blood job.
They are not. Yeah.
So you said Kiffin. You also said Drinkwitz earlier, which again
both could be.
Both could be, and I feel like Drinkwitz would be making a mistake if he left Missouri, but I could see it happening. Clark Lee, again, I could see it happening, but I think he should stay at Vanderbilt. That is a great question, my guy. Let me tell you this.
It is.
Would you consider the NFL a blue blood job?
You can count the NFL. Yes, nobody's asked that, and I love that you asked that question.
Okay, let's watch Steve Sarkisian go what he decides to do in the offseason.
Okay.
I'd
be fascinated to see who Texas would hire if Sark would leave too, by the way.
Nick Saban.
God.
I'm dead serious, bro. I am dead serious. They tried it once. They tried it. Do you remember this back in 2014, 15?
Yes, I do remember years ago. It was when was it before Charlie Strong or the one before that?
It was after Charlie Strong.
Okay.
So Tom Herman used to be the Lane Kiffin of the 2010s, boys and girls. But so they were looking at Tom Herman. I don't know how credible this report is, but it came from a guy who's covered the SEC a lot. He's covered college football a lot.
Okay.
Someone said that Texas offered Nick Saban $25 million.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And Saban said
Strong got the job there in 2014, so that would have been that same cycle. Yeah.
So and Saban said no, and rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
But again, no idea if that's true or not, but that's just what I heard from someone. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. That would be a job. If Lane Kiffin is still at Ole Miss, he's taking that job.
He's taking the Texas job. 1,000%. So no, I'd keep an eye on Sark, because it looks like he's got it made at Texas. He's done his job. He's resurrected the program. I feel like, because you got to remember, he's got experience on both sides now. He's been in college and he's been in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And in today's day and age of college football, you see a lot of these coaches look over at Sundays where there's not a heavy demand for recruiting all the time. There's not this huge demand to be the face of the program all the time. And there's reasonable expectations within certain parameters, right?
Your roster's half its size at 55, not
So there's not a whole lot to handle. You know, they're grown adults. Well, unless you know, it's the Steelers. But you know, I feel like Sark gives me that Cliff Kingsbury energy where he's been to the other side and he's been like, dude, the NFL is where it's at, right? So he just took the Texas job because, you know, it's Texas, right?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if we see in the next couple of years that Texas has a job opening because Steve left for the Titans or somebody. So
yeah, I wouldn't hate that for, you know, for him it would make sense, and I think he'd be a decent hire for an NFL team too.
Or the Dolphins if they move on from Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
So
what teams from the SEC are going to play for the conference title?
All of them. Have you seen the rosters, bro?
I have. Yeah.
Give me a Texas A&M Alabama matchup tomorrow.
I agree with you. I concur that I think that will also be the matchup. Now, this one gets a little tougher. What SEC teams do you think make the playoff?
So let's just assume Texas A&M and Bama play, and I think if they did, Bama would win it. So give me Alabama and Texas A&M to make it by default for the championship game appearance. I like Georgia's resume, so they would probably get in just because, you know, oh, you only lost to Bama by a touchdown, so they would get in pretty easily. And everyone's saying like, oh, they're going to get 6 teams in. I don't really think so. The playoffs not going to want to.
It's going to be 5.
Yeah, they're not going to want to show that much bias. So give me Ole Miss occupying a spot. Maybe at like 11 or 12 or something like that. And this is kind of going to be a stretch, but if Vanderbilt can win out and beat a ranked Tennessee team on the road because they're playing in Knoxville, if I remember correctly, sure, like put Vandy and Ole Miss together and let one, because I'll tell you this, if they do get 5 in, they're going to match some up and start thinning that pool very quickly.
I think so. That's fair. Yeah.
So give me an Ole Miss Vanderbilt home game for the Rebels.
I like it.
In this scenario. So
no, that's fair. But Matt, we've reached our conclusion here. So want to thank you for being here. Had a fantastic time talking about, you know, Auburn and all the other coaching vacancies. Everybody, you can find him at the Barning Man, and you'll see it on the bottom of the screen there, and I'll of course tag that in our posts. But Matt, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir, Mike. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.